faithfully delivering value by interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're interpreting the book called Injury Free Running for you. When it comes to running, its benefits are countless. It can help with weight loss, improve cardiovascular function, give you abundant energy, and effectively prevent diseases like hypertension, coronary heart disease, and diabetes. In recent years, more people are using running for fitness. However, this sport that everyone can do anywhere without intense competition has become a source of injuries for many. According to surveys, injury rates among runners abroad range from 19% to 79%, while in China it's as high as 85%. Some severely injured runners even need surgery or have to end their athletic careers. So, how can we avoid running injuries? This injury free running book we're discussing today will provide reasonable advice. The author of this book, Dai-Jian Song, is an associate professor in the Department of Sports Health Science at Nanjing Sports Institute, a fitness coach, a national vocational qualification trainer, and a trainer for the Chinese Athletics Association, Marathon Society, and road running instructors. In this book, the author explains scientifically reliable running knowledge and skills in a way everyone can understand, helping you stay injury-free and run healthfully. Next, I'll explain the main content of the book through 3 questions. First, what preparations should be made before running? Second, what issues should be paid attention to during running to avoid injuries? Third, if you do get injured while running, what should you do? All right, let's start with the first question. What preparations should you make before running? You might first think of suitable sports gear, like a pair of proper running shoes. The market is flooded with running shoes, many with cool designs and claims of various high-tech cushioning features. The author believes that for average runners, style and high-tech features aren't the most important factors in choosing running shoes. A safe running shoe should have these 3 points. First, the heel-to-toe drop shouldn't exceed 6 millimeters. Unlike flat-soled sneakers, running shoes have a thicker heel for cushioning, creating a drop between heel and toe, known as the heel-to-toe drop. A certain heel-to-toe drop can increase comfort during running and boost forward momentum, but an excessive heel-to-toe drop isn't suitable for average runners during long runs, as it increases injury risks. Research shows a 6 millimeter drop is ideal, and some brands label this on their insoles. The heel-to-toe drop can be a reference when selecting shoes. Second, running shoes should be natural and neutral. Here, natural and neutral means simple design. Many running shoes have complex designs. Take midsoles, for example. Some claim high-tech materials like foam, gel, or air capsules for cushioning. Thick soles help cushioning but greatly reduce ground feel during running, increasing accident risks. Plus, while running naturally strengthens foot muscles, over-cushioned shoes provide excessive protection that may weaken your feet. When encountering poor road conditions, you're actually more prone to injury. Third, running shoes should be lightweight. Our ancestors often ran barefoot quickly across fields. Human foot and leg structures have evolved over time to adapt to this. Therefore, running shoes shouldn't be too heavy. Generally, men's shoes shouldn't exceed 285 grams. Women's shouldn't exceed 230 grams. These 3 points are theoretical knowledge for selecting running shoes. As the saying goes, only your foot knows if the shoe fits. When actually choosing shoes, beyond these parameters, the most important thing is to try multiple pairs to find the perfect fit. Studies show many choose running shoes in their regular size, so 85% end up with shoes that are too small. Because feet swell and change shape during running, requiring extra space, so running shoes should be slightly roomier than regular shoes. Try on the shoes and take a brisk walk or slow jog. If your toes, especially the big toe, don't touch the front, can wiggle freely and your foot doesn't slide around, it's a good fit. Some people feel they have wide feet, while some shoe models seem narrow. How to tell if it's too tight? A trick. Remove the insole and stand on it. If your foot width doesn't exceed the insole edges, it fits. Also, always wear athletic socks when trying shoes. Test them for at least 10 minutes and only consider buying if they stay comfortable. Generally, no matter how high-tech the materials are, a pair of running shoes will wear out over 50% after running 480 to 800 kilometers. So if the tread on your soles is worn down and blurred, it means it's time to replace your shoes. You can also prepare 2 or more pairs of running shoes, giving each pair time to rest, which will extend their lifespan. It's recommended to choose different styles for these pairs, which helps strengthen your foot muscles' adaptability and reduces injury risk. Now that we've covered running shoes, let's talk about socks. Some runners fear their legs getting thicker from running, so they choose to wear compression gear, like compression socks or sleeves during runs, believing it has a slimming effect and can improve performance. Is that really the case? Compression gear was originally used in medicine, typically to treat varicose veins. For these patients, blood flowing to the body's extremities, especially the legs, lacks the force to return to the heart and may even flow backward. But compression gear, with its small diameter and high elasticity, wraps around the calf and helps venous blood flow back. However, researchers at Newcastle University in the UK found that compression gear doesn't slim legs or improve running speed. It just makes your legs appear slimmer while you're wearing it. Although it doesn't slim legs, for long-distance running, especially marathons, wearing compression gear under professional guidance can indeed help reduce leg fatigue. Because this compression gear can accelerate blood flow, helping to clear metabolic waste, and timely introduce nutrients needed for muscle repair and rebuilding. If you continue wearing compression socks for 24 hours after a marathon, it can significantly speed up muscle recovery. Having covered sports gear, let's move on to warm-ups, which can reduce the chance of injury during running. Some might say it's simple. Just move your joints around, like shaking your wrists and ankles, twisting your waist, and doing knee circles. The author of this book believes that these actions not only fail to warm you up, but can also cause injury. For example, knee circles. Research has found that many knee injuries, such as ligament and meniscus damage, occur when the knee rotates and straightens simultaneously. Knee circles deliberately mimic this action, rotating while constantly bending and straightening, and if you're not careful or apply too much force, it's easy to get injured. When doing knee circles, you might hear cracking sounds from your joints, which could be caused by friction between the meniscus and cartilage in your knee. Long-term friction can cause damage to these areas. The same goes for twisting your neck or waist. Twisting your waist subjects your spinal discs to combined rotational and lateral forces. This does nothing but wear down your spinal discs. Besides joint circling, bouncing style warm-ups are inadvisable too, like interlacing fingers and bouncing while bending forward or rapid repeated leg kicks. These also risk accidental joint sprains. So how should you warm up before running? Just remember, the key isn't moving your joints, but fully activating your muscles. Good muscle condition protects fragile joints and is key to injury-free running. That's because joints don't bend on their own. They rely on surrounding muscles contracting and relaxing to move. For running, thigh muscles contracting and relaxing let us flex and extend knees to move forward. Muscles aren't just your joint's engine, they're their protective shield too. Think of shipping fragile vases. You'd use soft padding like foam. Muscles are like that protective padding. While we can't build muscle fast, warm-ups increase muscle elasticity, which also protects joints. Some might say, but I feel joint stiffness and need to loosen them. Actually, what you're feeling is mostly muscle stiffness around joints, not the joints themselves. Hence, activate muscles. 2 methods. First, start jogging in place, gradually adding high knee running to activate most muscles. Second, do muscle stretching. Jogging in place activates most muscles initially. But for muscles heavily used in running or still feeling tight, do further stretching.
For example, thigh muscles, crucial for running power and knee protection.
Pre-run stretching focus. Stand on one leg, slowly fold the other back to stretch front thigh muscles. Or stand staggered, gently press forward thigh to stretch back thigh muscles. All right, we've covered the first question. What preparations should be made to run injury-free? Preparing proper gear like shoes before running is crucial. The key to pre-run warm-ups isn't moving joints, but activating muscles. Only by fully activating muscles can you protect your joints from injury. Now that we've covered pre-run preparations, you must be eager to hit the road and run. Next, let's discuss the book's second question. What should you pay attention to while running? First, let's talk about running timing. Some prefer morning runs, others night runs. Which is better? It really depends on the individual. Some believe running on an empty stomach in the morning aids weight loss, thinking that overnight sleep depletes glycogen, forcing the body to burn fat directly for energy. In fact, this has no scientific basis. Research shows a night's sleep consumes at most a quarter of your glycogen, so running a few kilometers before breakfast makes no difference for weight loss compared to other times. And for many night owl youngsters, forcing early morning runs without sufficient sleep carries multiple risks. For instance, running while still groggy increases tripping and falling risks. Long-term running with sleep deprivation may even cause heart issues. If you want to run in the morning, adjust your sleep schedule. The key isn't waking early, but sleeping early, so running can kickstart a healthy, energetic day. Of course, if you truly can't sleep and wake early, just choose another time to run. A reminder, during night runs, visibility is poor, so pay extra attention to road conditions to avoid injuries. Especially if running along roads at night, don't wear headphones and wear reflective strips or fluorescent clothing and shoes to be more visible to vehicles and pedestrians. Having covered running times, let's discuss common issues during running. A common issue is side stitches, medically known as diaphragmatic spasms. The diaphragm is a muscle between your chest and abdominal cavities. Its contraction and relaxation help you breathe. To avoid side stitches while running, note these 3 points. First, avoid eating large amounts of high-fat and high-fiber foods before running. High-fat foods stay in your system longer and are harder to digest. Oh. This diverts blood flow to your diaphragm, potentially causing spasms. So before running, avoid foods like fried pancakes and dough sticks. Even seemingly healthy high-fiber foods like oatmeal and cornflakes should be avoided pre-run, as they produce gas in the stomach, causing bloating and increasing side stitch risk. Well, second, gradually increase your running speed. Though the diaphragm is a muscle, it's internal and can't be warmed up like limb muscles through stretching. Starting slow lets it gradually fill with blood, preventing oxygen deprivation spasms. Third, moderately slow your breathing rate while deepening each breath. The diaphragm's contraction and relaxation control our breathing. By slowing your breathing rhythm while deepening breaths, you avoid overstimulating the diaphragm and effectively prevent side stitches. Beyond side stitches, another common runner issue is lower body injuries like chronic ankle or knee pain. What causes this?
Running involves takeoff and landing phases. Body weight plus inertia creates impact forces 2 to 3 times your body weight against the ground.
Per Newton's third law, the ground exerts equal reaction forces on your body. This reaction force negatively impacts lower body bones and joints, causing stress fractures or joint injuries. So how to avoid chronic running injuries?
The key lies in proper running form. First, proper form cushions the impact transmitted to bones and joints.
Imagine jumping from 1 meter high. Landing stiff-legged creates a loud impact with sudden high force. But by contracting muscles upon landing, bending hips, knees, and ankles to distribute force across muscles, you cushion impact without loud noise, avoiding excessive instant force. Same with running. Only by fully using lower body muscles to cushion impact, lightening your steps, and avoiding excessive instant force can you prevent injuries. Professors Irene and Davis from Harvard Medical School and their team conducted a tracking study on a large number of runners. They found that runners with light, quiet landings have a much lower injury rate compared to those with heavy, loud footsteps. Many people believe their heavy footsteps while running are due to excessive body weight. However, Professor Davis believes that light footsteps aren't necessarily related to body size. People with larger body weights can run lightly too by adjusting their running form. So, how can you run lightly? First, while running, keep your head forward, torso stable, avoid swaying, and lean your center of gravity slightly forward. When landing, contract your muscles, maintain proper knee bend, and press down moderately with the knee to cushion after foot touchdown. If that's not intuitive, try running and listening to your own footsteps. If you hear loud sounds while running, it means your form isn't light enough and needs improvement. Additionally, avoiding these 3 incorrect running postures can help you run lighter. The first wrong posture is taking long strides. Many runners do this, especially when speeding up, but research shows it doesn't effectively boost acceleration because long strides require higher liftoff, wasting effort and potentially causing injuries. More importantly, long-term long stride running can cause injuries due to higher liftoff, creating greater impact forces on landing. Plus, with long strides, knees land nearly straight, muscles don't engage much, and joints lack cushioning. So while running, maintain a smaller stride length and accelerate by increasing your step frequency. Research shows the optimal running cadence is 180 to 190 steps per minute, which makes a light posture easiest to achieve. The second wrong posture is knee hyperextension or inward buckling. Some runners kick their lower legs to drive their thighs and body forward, essentially leaning back while running, which is also incorrect. Long-term knee hyperextension leads to heavy steps and injury susceptibility due to lack of knee bending for shock absorption. And the correct posture is to lean your center of gravity slightly forward, with knees slightly bent on landing. Knee inward buckling is another common mistake among runners. Now, key inward buckling, commonly known as pigeon-toed, causes your body to sway unstably, preventing light running while significantly increasing pressure on knees and calves. How to avoid knee inward buckling? It's simple. Just keep both your toes pointing straight forward. The third wrong posture is kicking your butt. If you've seen Usain Bolt run on TV, you'll notice his feet nearly kick his own buttocks. In sprinting, this movement is technically called rapid calf folding, which helps increase speed. But for middle long distance runners and average runners, deliberately imitating this action is unnecessary. Not only does it make your steps heavier, but it also quickly fatigues your calf muscles, reducing their ability to protect joints. Regarding running form, many wonder whether to land forefoot or heel first. There's no definitive conclusion yet. Our barefoot running ancestors typically landed forefoot first, allowing the foot arch to act as a shock absorber. Modern professional long-distance runners also usually land forefoot first, though running shoe heels typically have cushioning elasticity. For amateur runners, heel-first landing might be more comfortable. So which is better? It's hard to say definitively. Beyond proper form, avoid blindly pursuing distance and duration during running, as this also causes injuries. Running volume should increase gradually, allowing your muscles to progressively adapt to the load. If you usually run only 8 to 10 kilometers max, jumping straight into a marathon will easily lead to injury. Many develop persistent pains after their first marathon that become hard to shake off. Moreover, blindly pushing your body's limits could even cause sudden cardiac death. If you're just running for fitness, no need to obsess over distance or duration. Create a reasonable plan. Since running is high intensity, accumulating over 75 minutes weekly, regardless of pace, achieves fitness goals. Accumulating 150 minutes weekly yields even better results. All right, we've covered the book's second part, what to pay attention to while running to avoid injuries. First, Reasonably choose your running time. Maintain a good mental state while running. Secondly, besides regulating your breathing, also pay attention to keeping your running posture light and avoiding incorrect forms like long striding.
Finally, arrange your running plan reasonably and avoid blindly challenging your limits.
Despite taking various preventive measures, injuries and accidents sometimes inevitably occur. So, how should we deal with these injuries? Now let's discuss the book's third question: what to do if you get injured while running. Running injuries are typically divided into two types: acute and chronic injuries. Let's first discuss acute injuries. The most common acute injury while running is ankle sprain, what we often call twisting your ankle. Carelessness during running or uneven road surfaces can easily cause twisted ankles. If not handled properly, it's easy to repeatedly sprain your ankle or suffer long-term chronic pain. The author suggests following the Rice principle for ankle sprains and other joint injuries. Using ankle sprain as an example, R stands for rest. If you twist your ankle, stop activity immediately. Never exercise through injury, because ankle sprains usually involve ligament strains with localized tissue bleeding. Continuing to walk at this point only increases bleeding and worsens the injury. The I in Rice stands for ice, meaning ice therapy. Ice therapy not only relieves pain but also constricts blood vessels, reducing subcutaneous bleeding and swelling. Within 48 hours after spraining, apply ice multiple times. Ice water, packs, or cubes all work. Note, if using very cold ice, wrap it in a thin towel before skin contact to avoid frostbite from low temperatures. Additionally, each ice session should last 15 to 20 minutes. Why, C and E in Rice stand for compression and elevation, applying pressure bandages and raising the injured area. After icing, use gauze and tape for compression bandaging and elevate your ankle while sleeping. Like icing, these methods prevent swelling from blood pooling in the injured area. The Rice principle applies during the first 48 hours post-injury. Focus on rest during this period. But if you've only sprained your ankle without more serious issues like fractures, so 48 to 72 hours after injury, that is, 2 to 3 days later, you shouldn't just rest passively. Because prolonged inactivity can lead to complications like ankle joint adhesions and muscle atrophy. Therefore, rehabilitation exercises should also begin simultaneously. Good. Timely restore joint flexibility and muscle strength. First, relax muscles around the ankle like calves and feet. Do toe pointing, inversion, eversion, and ankle exercises without pain. Once swelling fully subsides, start balance exercises like single leg stands and gradually build ankle explosive power. Some people consider absence of ankle pain as the sign to resume running after a sprain.
This idea is dangerous.
If muscle strength and joint flexibility aren't restored, blindly running will likely re-injure you and cause chronic pain. Thus, after a sprain, wait until muscle strength and joint flexibility fully recover before running again. In fact, many runners' chronic injuries stem from incomplete recovery of acute damage. Take knee sprains, for example, often caused by ligament strains in the knee joint. During rest periods, this can trigger quadriceps atrophy and create re-injury risks. The quadriceps, muscles on your thigh's front, are the body's strongest muscle group, protecting knees but prone to atrophy. Once quads aren't fully recovered, your knee becomes extremely vulnerable to re-injury. Not just ligament strains, cartilage and meniscus wear can also occur, accelerating joint aging. Therefore, to prevent acute injuries becoming chronic, strengthening muscle training is key. Muscle strengthening also applies to runners already experiencing chronic pain. Stronger muscles absorb more impact, preventing further irritation to injured areas and aiding recovery. Regardless of which muscle you're rehabilitating or strengthening, follow these 3 basic principles. First, learn to relax muscles. Constant tension hinders their metabolism and repair. Proper stretching and massage are great ways to relax muscles. Additionally, get an affordable yet practical muscle relaxation tool: the foam roller. Foam rollers are typically cylindrical, made of medium firm material with raised bumps, placed on the floor, perfect for relaxing leg muscles. Roll your leg muscles, front, back, and sides, over the foam roller to effectively relax them. Third, gradually strengthen muscle strength.
If injured, avoid intense training. It worsens injuries.
Consult rehab specialists when needed to evaluate your condition and create a scientific muscle recovery plan. Third, muscle flexibility is equally important. When training muscles, you might picture gym goers with bulging muscles. They're strong, but injury prevention requires not just muscle strength, but flexibility too.
Improve muscle flexibility.
Regularly stretch muscles to keep legs supple and elastic like rubber bands. Also train proprioception, like standing on a thick sponge mat, to enhance balance. This helps you react instantly when losing balance, stepping on rocks, or slipping, to avoid injury. Beyond muscle strengthening, for chronic injuries, consider braces, knee or ankle supports protect joints, kinesiology tape prevents muscle strains. We've covered part 3, what to do if injured while running. The Rice Principle effectively treats acute joint sprains. Muscle training prevents acute injuries becoming chronic and aids recovery. That concludes the main content of injury-free running. For running, the opposite of fast isn't slow, it's injury. To run faster and farther, master scientific methods first. Avoid pitfalls to gain joy and health. All right, that wraps up our interpretation of injury-free running. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.